सरसभा समा दुख सुखं धीरं सोमृतत्ताय कल्पते नाथतो विद्यते भावो ना भावो विद्यते सतः उभयोरपि दृष्टान्तस्तनयोस्तत्तदर्शिभिः अविनाशी तु तद्विद्धि येन सर्वमिदं ततं विनाशमव्ययस्यस्य न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति अन्तवन्त इमे देहा नित्यशोक्ता शरीरिणः अनासीनो प्रमेयस्य तस्माद् युद्धस्य भारत जयेनं वेत्ति हन्तारं यश्चैनं मन्यते हतम् उभौ तौ न विजानीतो नायं हन्ति न हन्यते न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अयो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे वेदा विनाशिनं नित्यं जायेनामजवद्भयं कथं सा पुरुषः पार्थ कं घातयति हन्तिकम् वासंसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णान्यन्यानि संजाति नवानि देहि नैनं छिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दहति पावकः न चैनं क्लेदयन्तापो न शोषयति मारुतः आच्छिद्दूयमदाच्छूयम् अक्लिद्दूषस्यैव च नित्यः सर्वगतः स्थाणुरचलोऽयं सनातनः अव्यक्तोऽयमचिन्तोऽयम् अविकार्योऽयमुच्यते तस्मादेवं विदित्वैनं नानुशोचितुमर्हसि अथ चैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतं तथा वित्तं महाबाहो नैनं शोचतिमर्हसि यातस्यै ध्रुवो मृत्युध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मादपरिहार्यादे न तं शोचितुमर्हसि अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत अव्यक्तनिधनान्येव तत्र का परिदेवना आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवद् वदति तथैव चन्न आश्चर्यवत् चन्नमन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्तापेनं वेद न चैव कश्चित् देहि नित्यमबुद्धूयं देहि सर्वस्य भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न तं शोचितुमर्हसि स्वधर्ममपि चावेक्ष न विकम्पितुमर्हसि धर्मद्धियुद्धश्रेयोन्नत् क्षत्रियस्य न विद्यते यदृच्छया चोपपन्नो सर्गद्वारमपावृतं सुखिनः क्षत्रियाः पार्थ लभन्ते युद्धमीदृशम् अथ चेत्तामिमं धर्म्यं संग्रामं न करिष्यसि ततः सधर्मं कीर्तिं च हित्वा पापमवाप्स्यसि अकृत्तिं चापि भूतानि कथयिष्यन्ति ते त्वयां सम्भावितस्य चाकीर्तिर्मरणादपि विच्यते भयाद्रणादुपरतं नङ्गशन्ति त्वां महारथा येषां च त्वां बहुमतं भूत्वा यास्यसि लाघवम् अवाच्यवादांश्च बहून् वदिष्यन्ति तवाहिता निन्दन्तस्तव सामर्थ्यं ततो दुःखतरं नु किम् अतो वा प्राप्स्यसि सर्गं जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महिम् तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः सुखदुःखे समये कृत्वा लाभलाभौ जयाजयौ ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्य नैवं पापमवाप्स्यसि एषा ते किहिता सांख्ये बुद्धिर्योगेत्तिमां शृणु बुद्ध्या युक्तो जया पार्थ कर्म बन्धं प्रहास्यसि.
So that's where we got up to last week, verse 39. And these verses, very, very nice. What glory there is simply in doing one's duty. Hatova prapsyasi swargam ditva va bhukshase mahim. It's a win-win situation. Because doing one's duty, doing the right thing, following the true path, it can only have an auspicious result. Although apparently within the material plane it may appear to have some painful or inauspicious result, actually in the absolute sense it can only have an auspicious result. So such dignity, such glory is there in blindly doing one's duty. Sukha dukkhe same kritva, without considering personal happiness or distress, gain or loss, victory, defeat, just do your duty. And there is also that verse that what you are seeing, what you are now perceiving to be a difficulty, challenge, it is actually your opportunity. That Yajrichaya chopananam, that Swarga dwaram apavirtam. This is like an open door to heaven for you, this battlefield. Sukhina kshetriya partha. Only the most fortunate warriors are blessed with this type of battlefield. It is very encouraging, these verses of Bhagavad-Gita. Just through some shift of our perspective, everything can change for us. The most difficult, trying situations that we face, it can suddenly become, the most hopeful thing. If we think of it as an opportunity, we can face this in the proper way, we can progress, we can go further. In Param Guru Maharaj's introduction, he mentions there hope for the hopeless, saying how powerful Gita is. I don't remember exactly what he says, but hope for the hope. Very nice, isn't it? Hope for the hopeless, and a few other things. Courage for.
On and on he goes.
Yes, he lists so many things. So we're feeling so hopeful, so encouraged to hear these verses. Okay, so now we're coming to verse 40. And usually what we do is we hear Gurudev chant it and then we chant it all together. And then we take turns to read the translations. Okay, so we'll hear Gurudev.
Neha vikramana shasti prattavayo navittati shalpamapasya dharmasya trayati mahato haya.
Okay. Naha vikrama nashasti pratyavayo navidyate salpamapyasya dharmasya chayate mahato bhayat. Maharaj, do you want to read the translation?
I have revealed to you this knowledge, buddhi, of the soul. Now hear from me how to act in this knowledge, bhakti yoga, through which you will be able to free yourself from the bondage of action.
Should we read the commentary, or do you want to comment now or afterwards?
Oh, read the commentary.
Okay. Subhasini ji, do you want to read the commentary?
It will be revealed that Buddhi Yoga, yoga of wisdom, is a singular path. When Buddhi Yoga is seen to be limited by the ideal of action, it is known as Karma Yoga. When it extends beyond action up to the peak of knowledge, it is known as Jnana Yoga or Sankhya Yoga. And when transcending the limitations of both action and knowledge, it touches Bhakti or devotion. It is then known as Bhakti Yoga or perfectly pure and complete Buddhi Yoga.
I'm sorry, I got totally mixed up. This is the wrong translation. This is, we did 40, we read for 39. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're here.
Oh,
This is where we are, yeah, sorry. So we're here.
Want me to say it again?
Okay.
On this path there can be no loss and no harm. The slightest practice of such a spiritual ideal saves one from the greatest fear.
Mahabhai, the greatest fear, is generally considered to be the fear of repeated birth and death in this world. But Mahabhai also refers to Sayujya Mukti, the liberation of merging into the impersonal, non-differentiated consciousness of Brahmalok, Viraja, or a kind of impersonal samadhi. Renunciation alone leads to Sayujya Mukti, the cessation of birth and death, but not to a life in the positive plane. It takes one to a permanent burial, this spiritual suicide, in Brahmalok. The demon of Mukti will devour one wholesale, and therefore it is even more dangerous than this ordinary life of action and reaction. Mukti means a strike in the organic system, so it must be avoided. For example, to either ignore duties in a factory or to declare a strike by cessation of duties are both abnormal. Welcome, Maya. Bhukti, exploitation, and mukti, renunciation, are both fearsome ghosts. Therefore, here, Mahabhai means the great apprehension of falling prey to both the ghost of exploitation leading to birth and death, as well as the ghost of committing suicide by merging into the impersonalism of incarceration in Brahmalok. Fear of both Bhoga Bhumi, the land of exploitation, and Tyag Bhumi, the plain of renunciation. It is stated in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Bhukti Mukti Spriya Javat Pishachi Hridivartate Tavad Bhakti Sukhasyatra Katam Abhyudayo Bhavet. The ecstasy of devotion to Krishna will never appear in a heart that is haunted by the ghosts of exploitation and renunciation. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma janavitam anukulyena krishna nushilanam bhaktir uttama. The highest devotion is that which is cultivated for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord Krishna, with no desire except to serve him, and divested of all external attempts, such as worldly action, knowledge in search of the impersonal absolute, or the meditational attempt to become one with God. Only the Supreme Lord is Abhoy, beyond apprehension. Therefore, nothing but participation in his service can free one from the ghosts of exploitation and renunciation, bhukti and mukti. If we subtract bhukti and mukti, then only positive bhakti, devotion, is the remainder. Therefore, without devotion, everything is Mahabhai, great danger. Maharaj, please, some thoughts. Very important verse.
I was just thinking that the Guru Maharaj said that there are 3 levels of action. One has to do with exploiting the external, exploiting things around us for our own purposes, then being frustrated with that, leaving that behind, going towards leaving that behind, but not because of ego, not wanting to surrender through bhakti, through giving oneself to the Lord in love and devotion. One withdraws, and in that withdrawal, the only direction is to try to become equal with the Lord, and that is trying to merge into the impersonal Brahman, and that merging is, I forget where it's set down. I think Srila Prabhupada told us also that it's particularly dangerous because it has to do with something that's real. The experience of merging into the Brahman effulgence is a real thing. So it's, when it's approached even, it's very dangerous because it's an experience of spirituality, but it's like Srila Sridhar said here, it's really just a burial of the self. The self just gets negated and put into a kind of an empty spiritual void. So to go in that direction is really it's advised against. It's told that we're not even to read the commentaries that talk about the impersonal path, like the Sharirak Bhasya of Shankaracharya. Though sometimes it's read to understand it and to combat it in the context of devotion and devotional surrender. But anyway, beyond that, there's the path of bhakti, or the path of love. You can act for exploited purposes. You can withdraw, but ultimately the real plane of action is the plane of love, and that plane of love is bhakti. And naturally, because it's the natural position of the soul, it's what we really are. It naturally frees us from fear. It naturally frees us from any worries about things in the temporary world. Everybody here has got, ultimately always has fears because ultimately we have to die, and nobody wants to die. And without the perception that comes as a result of surrender to the Lord, you can't know where you're going to go. You can't know what's going to happen at the time of the death of this body. And you're going to be afraid of the death of the body because we're in the consciousness of I am the body. So naturally it's a terrible situation that we find ourselves, stuck in this world, thinking we're this thing that ultimately is going to just, deteriorate and ultimately stop working. And our attachment to that leads us at the culmination of this body, based on our consciousness at that time, leads us to another body. So, beginning to understand this, we have to try to change ourselves so that we can become or begin to become become and awaken our real spiritual self, and move in the direction of bhakti. But we're in darkness. How to do that? And in that condition, one has to turn to someone who's not in darkness, and that is Sri Guru. So we have the blessing of those with vision, those who have received the vision from others with even higher vision. We have that opportunity to get from them the light of understanding about spiritual life, and the light that can bring us to beginning to feel something about being free from the fear of repeated birth and death, which is the ultimate final fear. So Mahabhaya what was that? What's Sanskrit? In the verse, what was it? Mahabhayat. Greatest fear of birth and death in the material world. So that's, ultimately without solution to that, there's so many fears. What will happen to me as I walk around the corner? Will someone come at me? Will the whole world explode in nuclear disaster? There's so many things and so many problems that we just look at the newspaper, look at the history books. It's all just repeating over and over and over again without the masses of people learning the lesson that no matter what we do, no matter what economic system or political system or adjustment we make in this plane of the world, the plane of life that we're in now, no matter what we do, it's not going to solve our problems. So here the recommendation is that not to withdraw, not to live in the world of give and take, mostly take, but to begin to engage and enter into the world of bhakti. This is Krishna's constant recommendation throughout the Gita, throughout his teaching in the Gita. Many chapters, almost every chapter concludes in, now that you have heard all these things, now surrender to me, I'm standing here. Aham, mam. We find these personal pronouns all throughout the Gita, where Krishna is telling us, it's me. He's not saying it's Brahma. He says it's me, repeatedly, over and over and over again. So, therefore, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada have given us the line of understanding of the Gita that teaches us what it really is, as it is. That Krishna is a transcendental personality, he loves us, and we are eternal personalities also. And the finest manifestation of love is reciprocal, and the highest reciprocal love is love for God, our personal relationship with God. Otherwise, this idea of merging, how do you experience anything? You're just there. But as a transcendental personality, you experience the beauty of, the beauty, the wonder, everything of transcendental exchange with God. And this, the Gita opens up the door for us to go towards that reality, that real thing. So Krishna is so kind. He's telling us over and over again how to surrender and die.
That was really beautiful. Well, what you said is so complete. Just one little thing. This word avritam is very nice, that these tendencies for exploitation and renunciation, which Maharaj has been discussing, they are just coverings. They are just coverings. So, as it's expressed here so nicely, if we subtract bhukti and mukti, if we remove those things, those tendencies for exploitation and renunciation, then what is actually the inherent and natural wealth of the soul, it will be able to emerge and manifest and grow very beautifully. It's not an acquired thing. These things are acquired coverings. And when you remove them, then that inner wealth, that will naturally begin to manifest in the proper environment.
That's really, really deep, because we see, in spite of the coverings of exploitation and renunciation and the cover of the real self, still we can perceive in our life in this world, we can perceive something of what is real. The beauty kind of pierces through the coverings of illusion, so that we get, with the right vision, you can see there must be reality there. The beauty in the flower is, it's inexplicable what it is, but we know it's a beautiful thing. But then in this world, the flower withers. But it's still, it gives, in that withering, it gives us some awakening idea that the beauty that I feel and see in the flower is a real experience. But it just, it leaves us in this world. But I want that experience. From within, we want to feel that experience of beauty and love and all these inner things that kind of drive us in this world, but going in the wrong direction because of our coverings of ego. I forget where I was going.
We're finding reflections of that in this world, of love, beauty, and it's our natural tendency to seek that, but we're seeking in lower planes. That's the point you're making.
Yeah. The real thing is there, right in front of our eyes, but we can't see it because we're covered with the blinders of selfishness. And whether it's selfishness in terms of exploiting material energy, or selfishness in terms of simply withdrawing from the material energy and denying our position as eternal servant. It's still selfishness. But like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, the matter is the dictionary of spirit. So everything is before us. It's just, we can't see it. But even in our conditioned state, we can perceive it through metaphor. So many metaphors are given to us about the nature of spiritual life as we perceive it in this world. So with real vision, the pure Vaishnava, the Paramahansa Vaishnava, sees that Krishna's lesson is everywhere. The whole world is set up to give us a lesson. And at first, the first beginning step is to think, there's something wrong here. I have to die. I don't want to die. There's something wrong here. And having asked this question, then we begin to search for the answers to why it's not right. Why doesn't it feel right? If it's so naturally, chemically, it's a natural, process, why doesn't it feel right? They say, oh, it's just a natural thing, it's just a natural thing, but it doesn't, the whole thing doesn't feel right for us. Things don't stay with us. Happiness is always just beyond our grasp. So, yeah.
Anyone want to make a comment or a question or anything? Should we move on? Okay. Well, the girls are very quiet. You've caught them, Maharaj.
Yes, they're listening very nicely.
Okay, now this verse 41, very, very nice verse. And we heard that this was like an epiphany. Maybe you can speak more about that for Srila Swami Raj Prabhupada, this verse, describing Yavavasa, Buddhi, one-pointed fixed consciousness. And there's a very beautiful purport by one of our charges, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and I'll read that. Very, very nice. Okay, so we'll hear this from Gurudev.
व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धि एके हा गुरुनंदन बहु शाखा क्षमताश्च बुद्धयो व्यवसायिनम्.
Okay, we'll all chant together as loud as we can. Yava sayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahushaka anantascha buddhayo yavasayinam. Okay, so then translation. What about Naya? You want to read the translation?
I am descendant of the Kuru dynasty. Resolute intelligence dedicated to me is one point. I am its only objective, but irresolute intelligence displayed by endless desire for mundane behavior.
Do you understand all those words? I can't pronounce it either. Resolute means like fixed and firm, and irresolute means like not fixed, weak, and splayed means like going in different directions. Like if you have a string and there are so many tiny strings that are going out in different directions, so like that. In our context, no doubt that meaning's also there, but in our context it's used synonymously with material. So like selfishness, like that. So Krishna is saying, persons who are fixed in me, they have like this very focused mind, focused consciousness. But persons who are absorbed in the spirit of enjoyment, exploitation, their mind is like all over the place. It's like when you go to the supermarket, it's like you just go to buy a loaf of bread and there's 20 different kinds, and so it's like that. You go like for a quick 10-minute stop, and then before you know it, you've got a full basket. Oh, this looks nice, this looks nice, that looks nice, like that. And I'd like to read this. This is, as I mentioned, this is a commentary, and we've heard from Srila Goswami Maharaj that this, for Srila Prabhupada, Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, the founder of ISKCON, there's this particular purport by one of our acharyas. When he read this, it was like an epiphany for him, and it really inspired him in going to America to begin the spread of this movement and these teachings around the world. So I'm going to read this. It's very powerful. This is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur.
The one point of this was taking the order of his guru only.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Because it was the Srila Prabhupada's. It was the guru of Srila Prabhupada. It was his very earnest desire that these teachings would go around the world. And so Srila Prabhupada took that very much to heart. And this purport, this commentary, it is expressing exactly that, as Maharaj said, that the only purpose of your life is to fulfill the desire of Guru. So we'll read that. My sadhana is to serve the lotus feet of the Lord, to remember and glorify Him as instructed by my Guru. That is also my goal, sadhya. It is my life-sustaining medicine. So this is interesting because do you know these words sadhana and sadhya? Sadhana is used to refer to the practice, and sadhya to the goal. So commonly we'll think of sadhana as leading to sadhya. The practice will lead to the goal. But here he's saying that this is my practice and this is my goal. Like they're non-different. So my sadhana is to serve the lotus feet of the Lord, to remember and glorify Him as instructed by my Guru. That is also my goal, sadhya. It is my life-sustaining medicine, for I cannot give up the sadhana and the sadhya. This is my most desirable object, for I cannot give up the sadhana and the sadhya. This is my most desirable object, my duty, and nothing else is my duty. Nothing else is desired, even in dreams. There may be happiness or sorrow. Samsara, you're familiar, like material entanglements, birth, death. Samsara may be destroyed or may not be destroyed. That is no loss to me. Let there only be resolute intelligence fixed in pure bhakti. Maharaj. Any comments?
Where were you reading that from? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, from Bhaktivinoda Thakur's?
It's from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary.
And rendered in English?
Yeah, there's a
from
copy.
where?
It's an ISKCON devotee.
Okay.
I have it from Chagima.
Kusha Prada?
Let me check. I first heard about it from Tribhuvan Maharaj, and then Chagima had a copy.
Does anybody have Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Gita commentary?
I haven't looked at it. Probably Chagima does have.
Has a beautiful summary of each chapter at the beginning of each chapter. Yeah.
No, I'm not sure. I don't have the beginning pages of this.
Yeah, it's just the real solution to, our like hundreds and thousands of different problems in the world is just one thing, and that's dedication. And by that one thing, all of our shortcomings in terms of life and knowledge and happiness will, automatically fall into place. This is Krishna's message to us, that by this one-pointedness means pointing ourselves towards Krishna, ultimately to Krishna. If we're one-pointed in our objective, then all the other necessary things will fall into place in a natural way. This is faith, and it may be according to our conception of what's necessary for our spiritual life, but probably it'll be according to Krishna's conception and not like what we want. Things happen in different ways.
Probably.
It's generally like that. Because, like the parent knows that the child shouldn't put his or her hand in the cooking fire, so she slaps the hand. So Krishna knows that we shouldn't get entangled in the temporary world. So as we try to go towards him, he shows us how foolish is our false consciousness, the identity that we have thinking it's ourself, how foolish it is in its attachment. And he slaps us in different ways. And through that, gradually we find that, yes, it's like the loving mother. It's really like that. And slowly through practice and remembering that, we get the sense that Krishna is always our friend, and that our best friend is always with us, and our best friend is always protecting us. And ultimately, by that kind of practice, ultimately, everything that happens in this world to us, because Krishna is God. If there's a God, then He's behind everything. So it must be that whatever happens to us is a good thing. It's just a matter of how we see it and how we relate to it. If we relate to it in terms of our own objectives, we'll be happy or we'll be sad. We'll be sukha or dukkha, we'll be up and down. you know, constantly. But if we relate to it in terms of you know, what's necessary for us, which we really don't know, then you know, understanding and remembering that Krishna is always with us, slowly we'll come to the stage and Krishna, you know, gives us assurance that that's the case, and we hear that from our gurus, you know, those Paramahamsas who have who live in that world of freedom from fear, and freedom from illusion, and freedom from distraction by the, you know, hundreds of temporary objects, who are actually living in a world of one-pointedness. And I think Srila Sridhar Maharaj said of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada that he was simply, his whole life was the one thing, and that was to serve his guru. And he emptied himself of everything else. And because he emptied himself of everything else, then the Lord was compelled to come and help him. And Nityananda Prabhu himself came and helped him in giving Krishna consciousness around the world. Otherwise, that kind of thing is we know it, we can see it. It's just not possible for one person to have done what he did. And because he was one-pointed in his life. And so we see by practical example and practical results how this, you know, how this is really practically possible in our lives. So we have, that's why sadhu sangha is so important. We come in contact with people who have similar ideals to us. We come in contact with people who are more progressed on the path of surrender to the Lord, and by that contact we experience the reality of the whole process. You know, we find it in our friends and associates. They through shared ideal and you know, sangha, being together with that same ideal, our hearts are touched mutually, and by that, you know, mutual touching, we get assurance that this is real and this is true, and you know, the soul is the real self, and the false self that we have identified with for so long is not our real identity. And yeah.
Beautiful, Maharaj. Okay, well, I'm not going to add anything to that. You can go to verse 42.
Jali mang pushpitang batang prabhaganta vipastita vedavadarata patha nannadasti kivadinaha.
Okay, all together. Yam imam pushpitam vacham pravadantya vipaschita veda vada rata partha nanyad ashtiti vadina. And then Maya to meet.
Unwise persons, not knowing that the chief directive of the Veda is the attainment of the supreme truth, are fond of interpreting the fleetingly enchanting words of the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas as ultimate.
Marsh, I know you have a lot to say here.
No, Didi, I want to hear from you.
I can see that twinkle in your eye.
No, I came here to hear from you. Now I'm talking.
Well, I want to hear from you.
Yeah. Well, you know, I just like the what is that? Veda.
Right. It's an
Veda Vada Rata. Because Srila Prabhupada used to use that a lot. Vedavada Rata Partha.
Yeah, the literal meaning, it's not here.
Vedavada Rata. Oh yeah, it's not exactly word for word, huh?
No, I think maybe in Sharanagati it's
Vedavada.
described. Vedavada. I can't remember the literal meaning of it.
Well, it's like Mayavada.
Arguments. Vada means arguments, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So Vad means argument.
Arguments, they use the, whatever it is, the way the essence, they begin. Interpreting.
Well, I mean, I was just gonna say that we understand that there's a system in the Vedic literature to get everybody on the ladder at whatever point they're at. Whatever mentality they have, whatever level of consciousness they have some entry point, say to get on the ladder. So like recently we were discussing these 4 motivations which Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave as being behind every action that takes place in this world. Jai. The lowest motivation being fear. People will do something out of fear. The next being some prospect, some hope of gain, personal gain. Then the next, duty, selfless duty, and the highest is love. And so when it comes to religious, spiritual practice, then persons are according to what level they're at in these 4 different categories, they have the opportunity to get on that ladder of a spiritual life. And so if they're at the lowest level, then they need that stick. Be good or you're going to go to hell. You're going to burn in hell. If you don't accept Jesus as your savior, you're going to burn in hell.
They say that in early Christianity they believed in progressing through 7 levels of heaven. They had that Council of Nyasi in like 300 or something, that all the leaders of the church at that time got together and decided that they would have to separate themselves from the reincarnation of the previous religions, the pagan religions they called it. And so they set it up. Only in this life, heaven or hell. It wasn't like that before.
Just keep it simple.
Yeah, well, they decided it would have to be like that. Otherwise, people are not motivated enough.
Oh, really? That was why?
Yeah.
To motivate them to be good, God-fearing people.
Should I read your Bhakti-Vinod Thakur said?
Yes, please.
Maybe you need to talk with each other first.
So that is the lowest section, persons who, even there's some philosopher, I think it's a French philosopher, is it Kant? I can't remember, but he describes imaginary theism that can be employed by governments to try to manage their people. It's like it was Freud, right, who called religion the opium of the masses. Marx.
I can read something to you. Bhakti-Vinod Thakur, who 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, number 6 from the left on the altar. Bhakti-Vinod Thakur from the 19th century. Then he said, about the descriptions of hell, etc., and heaven, the heaven as beautiful as anything on earth, and the hell as ghastly as any picture of evil. And then he says, these are certainly poetical and were originally created by the rulers of countries in order to check the evil deeds of ignorant people who are not able to understand the conclusions of philosophy. The religion of the Bhagavat, that is Srimad Bhagavatam, is free from such poetry. Indeed, in some of the chapters we meet with descriptions of these hells and heavens and accounts of curious tales. But we have been warned somewhere in the book not to accept them as real facts, but as inventions to overawe the wicked and to improve the simple and the ignorant. Anyway, this is something. Srila Bhakti Thakur, that's in the Bhagavad.
And I can't remember where that, but it was Bhaktivinoda Thakur also who said that even the like the allegorical sections that may be there in the Bhagavad, they're also real, whether it may be not real in terms of physical reality, but in terms of actual spiritual experience. They have reality. They're substantially real, and in terms of temporary perception, it may be that they're not physically real, but there's a higher reality that's that dominates the understanding.
Yes, I also heard Maharaj in regards to that comment. Who was that you were quoting? Oh, he also said that. Yeah. I see. I seem to recall that quote of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was brought to Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and he made a response along those lines.
Maybe I've forgotten, but yeah, I knew that came. I thought Bhaktivinoda Thakur, maybe it was Srila.
We have to check. Okay, well, we're back to the verse. So fear, and then the next level is gain or prospect. Persons will be motivated by some personal gain. So this is where the Karma Kanda section comes in. It is advocating different religious practices, but based on the idea that you will do them and get something in return for oneself. You'll do some puja, chant some mantra, worship some deity, and then you will pass your exams, or get a beautiful wife, or a wonderful husband, or get a good job, or whatever it may be. So this section of people, they will put all their focus there, but they're ignoring this larger system within the Vedas. It's actually meant to be slowly leading one to a higher level of understanding. So they like to interpret this section as ultimate, when it is just like one step on this, in this higher, total system. Not knowing that the chief directive of the Vedas is the attainment of the supreme truth. That is the real goal. There's also a verse in Bhagavatam, Balanam Anushashanam. What is that verse? Balanam Anushashanam. That a father may give some medicine coated in sugar candy to their child to get them to take the medicine in any way. So in the same way, the persons of lower consciousness, if you don't tell them there's something in it for them, then they won't do it at all. So this idea. Okay, our sannyasi.
I'm here to listen to the class. I have come a long way to attend your Bhagavad-Gita class. Hare Krishna.
Well, it is actually 8 o'clock. It's gone by very fast. but I feel like it's gone by too fast. Maybe we hear one more verse from Gurudev. Well, I don't know, maybe it's a good place to stop, because once you start the next verses, then you don't want to stop. Maharaj, do you want to add any final thoughts? Maharaj?
I had something to raise, but I've forgotten. What was the last thing you said? About the purpose of the Vedas being to ultimately become selfless in service to Krishna. And the only thing I was thinking was that this ideal of selflessness really is perceived by almost everybody in the world. Those people who work selflessly, everybody looks up to them. And why is that? Because it's a natural state of being. It's the real natural state of being to be selfless. And if you're going to be selfless, you can be selfless to your family, your community, your nation, to humanity, to have this idea of the universe now. Do what the universe says. But who's the source of the universe? Who's the source of this planet? Who's the source of humanity? All the nations, everything. That's the real object of our selflessness. So it's like it's understandable. It's like within the range of our experience that we should find perfection not in gain for ourselves or renouncing that gain, but in giving ourselves to something higher. And who is the ultimate highest? That's Krishna. So Krishna gives us Bhagavad-Gita and all these different scriptures so we can learn, learn about what reality is, what real life is, and just by hearing these things, we begin to we begin to feel it. We begin to feel what's what is our natural state of being. It starts to wake up in our hearts. Yeah, that's that I was thinking.
And that message is given in the very final text, at the conclusion of all of the Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, where selfless love to the Absolute in His sweetest and most loving and personal form is Sri Krishna. We've all been attracted somehow to that ideal, and we're here together trying to cultivate that. Okay. Maharaj, you want to lead us in kirtan?
Kirtan?
Any type of kirtan that you like.
Well, it probably is a singing type. As it happens. All right, and you all know Hari Hari Nama Krishna?
Oh, actually, we usually finish with Maha Mantra on this day, on the Bhagavad-Gita day, okay. Usually.
He's in the kitchen. Hare Krishna. All right, then you know Panchatattva Maha Mantra. Acha. Panchatattva Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and Sripad Nyasi Maharaj. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Shri Advaita Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Radha Giridhari Ju ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gurudev Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Guru Maharaj Srila Bhakti Rockpok Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Rupanuga Guru Vanga ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat ki Jai. Jai Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad-Gita ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Bhagavat ki Jai. Shri Prapana Jivanamritam ki Jai. Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat London branch ki Jai. Jai Shri Navadip Dham ki Jai. Navadip Saprika Shri Guru Gauranga Gandhava Govinda Sundar Ju ki Jai. And Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Acharya Brinda ki Jai. Sripad Bhakti Vigraha Nyasi Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Visakha Devi Rasi ki Jai. All the assembled devotees ki Jai. Nithar Gaur Premanandi.
Ramjan Madhusudana Maharaj ki Jai.
Krishna.
Jai.
I'm going to be traveling tomorrow, and for most of June and July I won't be here.
You're leaving tomorrow?
I'm going to Hungary tomorrow.
Oh, wow. And then you're coming back?
I come back Tuesday, and then I leave Wednesday.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. You're going to the West Coast Wednesday?
Wednesday I go to Brazil.
Oh, Brazil. Okay, and then you go up from there.
No, then I come back for a few days.
Really?
And then
Wow, that's a big travel time, huh?
Yes.
Wow.
But Sripad Nyasi and Sripad Madhusudana, she's leaving on Friday, right?
Correct.
But Sripad Nyasi Maharaj is going to be here. We're very fortunate until November. Maybe maybe with the trip to India in between. But otherwise he'll be here, so we're very, very, very fortunate. He'll be here and he'll be speaking every Saturday and hopefully the Gita classes.
Well, yeah.
If you're feeling strong enough.
Yeah.
And you know Naya, she's such a star.
Yeah.
She's like become so attached to.
I can see the light.
She really loves it.
Yeah.
This is real nourishment. The television and newspaper cannot give you this kind of nourishment.